Aloha, welcome to the Mr.G podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. It's a warm, humid 79 degrees here on the outskirts of Chinatown, coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii. There's supposed to be a lot of rain today. Hurricane Calvin is supposed to be coming this way. Today, Mr. G podcast, it's episode 54, 55. I've taken 4 days off, not because I didn't want to do that, just because there's been distractions. And some of the best writers, some of the best storytellers will tell you the biggest setback for writers is distractions, being distracted. But it's just before 6:30 a.m. here in Hawaii, so I'm not looking for any distractions for the next 20 minutes. And if there are any distractions, I'm going to keep it cool, keep it with motion. We'll start it over and we'll do 20 minutes, whether it takes all day or whatever. And today we're going to be talking about how Google tracks you, and as far as writers go. If you were not aware, I am a writer. My name is Gregory Brandt. I wrote a very well-reviewed autobiography memoir called Gonzo Education. And Gonzo Education takes place between the years of roughly 1996 to 2010, right? And it's an autobiography, a memoir. Many people write memoirs, many people write autobiographies. But something occurred to me the other day, being a writer and being a very honest person as well. And in modern times, in modern technology, there's a time period where, like I said, my first book, Gonzo Education, it starts in 1996. And a lot of this book is taken from memory. There's things that you can verify. You can verify schools that I went to. You can talk to people that I've known. You can verify jobs that I've worked at through IRS records and this and that. But most of it, in just about every book that's ever been written, any nonfiction book, you had to rely on the author's word. You had to believe that he was telling the truth. Right now, if anybody's thinking, why am I listening to this guy? Look at him, he's wearing like 2 glasses. Don't, because I'm a fucking genius, all right? But the point is, young people today, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, their whole life is on a phone. Everybody takes their phone everywhere they go, and the phone tracks you. There's a setting on Google, which started maybe 5 years ago, where it can show you where you've been the entire year. So it can show you, oh, you went to the North Shore on this day. You went to the East Side on these days. And it's a digital record, a digital footprint. And if you're an autobiographical writer, you can't lie, you can't bullshit, because there are receipts. And that's a great thing for an honest person like myself that writes. So if somebody says, oh, I went here on this day and I went there and I went there, and even if they're just talking about, like, for example, they took a trip to Hawaii and they're 2 weeks in Hawaii, they're describing where they went, and they're like, yeah, we went to the North Shore and we went out. I'm like, did you leave Waikiki? Like, yeah, we went to the North Shore, and we went to the East Side, and we went to the West Side, and then we went to Pearl City and Pearl Harbor, But maybe they weren't telling the truth, but you could look on their Google data and be like, what? They didn't leave Waikiki, And because the phone tracks you everywhere you go. And so as far as a writer goes, like if you're trying to bullshit a story, like, oh, I went and traveled over here and did this and did that. Well, there's a digital footprint. And so any young writers, any nonfiction autobiographies, any memoirs that come out in the future, and it's only going to get better, it's only going to get more accurate. You're not going to be able to lie. You're not going to be able to bullshit. Not that I lied or anything in my first book. And a lot of my first book, like I said, you can verify. And in my second book, which I'm currently working on as well, the things that I talk about, you can verify on my Twitter, which I've been on for over 10 years, or you can verify on Instagram or Google Photos. You can verify things, but it's just getting better and better. And so for a writer, when you write something, you better dang well tell the truth, because people are going to be able to get your Google track records. We'll read about it exactly about it in a second. But people will be able to see, oh, no, you didn't go to Spain. You didn't go here. You didn't go there. What are you talking about, And so you didn't leave fucking your apartment for 3 weeks, And you can actually get that data. And then there's also Facebook posts, Instagram posts. There's also metadata saved on photos. Most people in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they probably take numerous photos every single day. maybe a few days they don't take any photos, but most days they probably take at least one or two photos. And that photo data is saved forever para siempre. And you can always go back, what was I doing on this day? You can always look back. One of the most common internet searches for me and other people is like, what happened on this day? And you type in your birth date or your mother's birthday. What happened on this day? Well, it's going to be a lot more than a few newspaper headlines in the future. You're like, oh, what was I doing on this day? Everybody's life, there could be artificial intelligence that just turns your life into a movie because all the Google data just takes all the photos and pictures and videos that you've shot over like the next 20 years from now in 20 years. And then it just changes and turns it into like a 2-hour movie. And that technology is coming in the next 10 or 15 years with quantum computers being run on AI technology. And that's what we're seeing now. Within the next 10 years, 80% of everybody's jobs is going to be taken by AI. There might be a few jobs, but in particular, white collar jobs are going to be taken. And so there might be jobs that robots can't do that need to be precise. I don't know, like a dentist possibly. I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know. But I was wondering about that in the dentist chair. I'm like, wonder if I should talk about AI to the dentist. Yeah, so here you are around AI and the dentist. Well, what? Shut up. No more Novocaine for you. But yeah, the future. Nobody's been able to predict the future in the history of human beings. When they ask, what do you think life's going to be like 100 years from now? Even the smartest people get it wrong. And look at Back to the Future, how wrong they were. They got a few things right, but they were generally wrong. And so when it comes, it's like, oh, like it's like an aha moment. It's like, oh yeah, that was right in front of me and we didn't realize it. But the Google data, as far as writers go, and nonfiction writers in particular, there's a digital footprint and it's going to track everything you do. So in my third book, which takes place in Hawaii, it's going to be able to track, like if I talk about going to the North Shore, then it's going to show on a particular day. And if I had a cell phone that day, it's going to show me going to the North Shore. If I go to the east side or work at this job, it's going to show me go to this job every day. It's going to show that data, that digital footprint. And I don't know, I enjoy that because I'm a very honest person. And I try to, if you make your bed, lie in it, is what I say. Is what I say. I invented that. But The Hill had a great article about Google location history. It was introduced in 2009, Google location history, and its users' locations through their smartphones. Like I said, you can go right now if you're unaware of this. If you have a Gmail or Google account, you can go to Google location history. It was introduced in 2009, and it tags losers' locations. It tags those losers' locations through their smartphones. Location history was designed to be helpful, and Google is able to provide a better service to its users because of it, the company says. The feature is turned off by default because of the privacy risks associated with collecting geolocation data, but it's extremely easy for users to accidentally turn location history on. So I didn't know that it was on default. I thought it was automatically on, but I must have accidentally turned it on. So if your location, if you want to look into this, you want to go to location history on your Google account and turn it on, and then it'll track everywhere you go. It's a little known Google feature that has tracked your location for years. Google's location history feature, an account-wide service that logs your movements through your smartphone, has stored the real-world comings and goings of millions of users since it was introduced in 2009. While the knowledge that your movements are being monitored by one of the world's largest tech companies may be unsettling, Google says location history was designed to be helpful. The company says it can provide a better service if it knows where you've been, giving you more detailed commute advice, recommendations based on places you visited, and more relevant advertisements. And as far as AI goes, that's even more important because you're not really concerned about what artificial intelligence is thinking about you or if they're monitoring your location. It could only be useful. It's one of my favorite expressions, knowledge is power. America is changing faster than ever. And the company says it can provide a better service Still, if this news makes you want to rush and turn your Google location history off, you're not alone. And there are some major privacy risks to having your location data stored online. That's why Google has said its location history feature is switched off by default and can only be activated with the user's permission. So a lot of people, like I said, have the different mindset. Me, you could say I'm an open book. I'm a very emotional, honest person, and so something like this is great. Like I said, I want as much knowledge and as many cameras as possible because I don't have anything to hide. And I'm not saying that people that don't like this have things to hide, but for me, it's only a positive. It's extremely easy to accidentally enable Google location history, particularly by using Google Maps. Here's how to turn Google location history off. First, go to myactivity.google.com and use your Google credentials to sign into your account. After you've signed in, select location history and toggle it in the off setting. This, however, will only pause your Google location history and won't delete any of your past data, which can be accessed at maps.google.com/timeline. So if you want to know where you've been in the last few years, if your location history was turned on, that's where you want to go. Maps.google.com/timeline. And it's really interesting, especially for me living on an island, because I can see all around the island that I've been. Even when location history is paused, your location may still be saved to your Google account when you're using other Google sites, apps, and services like Google Maps. Oh, okay, when you're using other Google sites and services, because they don't own very much, except everything. You're using YouTube? Guess what? Google knows where you're using YouTube. You know, to truly stop Google from tracking you, you'll also need to turn off web and app activity tracking. So Google also has Chrome, which is probably the most popular browser. Google owns YouTube. So even if you have the location turned off, if you're using Google services and websites and apps, which they don't mention here, but YouTube, Google Maps, then it's still saving your data. Like I said, I'm not against that at all. You know, you can put cameras on me 24/7. I might have some explaining to do, but I won't be ashamed of who I am as a person. And you shouldn't be either. We're all different. There's so many different people in the world. You don't have time to meet or everybody even. If you wanted to shake everybody's hand in the world, you would have to live to be like 3,000 years old. And even then it would be impossible. There's so many people in the world, even if you can't even think of everybody if you in a 200-year time period, if you live to be 200 years old. You can't even think of everybody once. That's how many people are in the world. So there'll always be people that exist that you didn't even know they existed. And one great thing about TikTok, you know I love TikTok. I've been on TikTok exactly 2 years from today. And in that 2 years, I've gotten 1 million likes and about 40,000 followers and thousands of dollars in cat food donations and other donations. And I'm really proud of the community that I built on TikTok. Back in the YouTube IRL streaming days, I was forced into a toxic community that I did not want a part of. I tried to throw that community on other people, that JR and Britain, but that didn't work. And so I finally just had to stop everything. But then I found TikTok, and TikTok was the kryptonite to those, keyboard warriors that never show their face or name on the screen. TikTok encourages you to show your face and your name. And that's what I did. And even though I've been feeding the street cats for 2 years previously, I started feeding them and making short videos on TikTok. I've been making music videos for over 20 years, since before YouTube existed. I've always loved making music videos. And I thought, hey, it might be a little risky with being in a bad neighborhood, but I could, film myself feeding the street cats, make a few sing-alongs, make a few TikToks. I'm a music expert, and I love music videos, and I'm great at lip syncing. So that's how it started 2 years ago. And I still, upload, probably 5 to 10 TikToks every day. They're real easy to make now. I can just do them in a couple minutes, so it's not a big part of my day. The podcast here and the essay that I write is more important, and that's something that takes skill time, effort. The videos also, you know, if I can take time, effort, and put skill in, have a very curated video. But it doesn't really seem to help the views. You know, making a simple video that takes me 2 minutes gets the same amount of views of making a video that takes me 3 or 4 hours. So why am I going to make the 3 or 4 hour when I will occasionally if my heart's in it? But overall, you know, it's become so easy for me to make these, but I'm grateful for it. And like I said, I'm grateful for the community that I built on TikTok. You know, I was having problems paying a bill the other day, pacing around my apartment, and I thought, look, let's stop worrying. Let's stop thinking about the problem. Let's think about solutions. I made a quick 30-second video explaining the situation, and within hours, people in my community came through. Viva la Spain, aloha, and others as well. And I was so grateful, and I realized, like, you always want to keep a positive mindset. You never want to feel down on yourself. You never want to pout, because that's never going to help your situation. You know, always think positive, and if you can't think positive, then at least try to be stoic. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, because that's when people get into more trouble, where they dig a deeper hole, when they let their emotions get the best of them. And it's better to have a rational mind and to think rationally, to not let things get under your skin. And I say that for myself as well, because there's always going to be people out there trying to give you a hard time. There's always going to be people out there that try to disrespect you. But, you know, I saw a famous sports broadcaster on ESPN. He was also a famous wide receiver, but he said he was walking to work one day in his like $2,000 suit, and real loud guy. He does the show with Skip Wallace is his name. Keyshawn, not Keyshawn, I forget his name. But he's saying he's walking to the studio one day and he's in a $2,000 suit, and there was a homeless guy, and the homeless guy started yelling at him. He's like, "Hey, you're so and so. Hey, F you. You can go fuck. You know," just started yelling at him. Like, in the sportscaster, he's, you know, 6'4", you know, huge and muscular. He could easily take out this homeless person, but it's like, I'm not going to interact with you. I got a lot more to lose than you do. And so, like, you can say whatever you want, but hey, I got bigger things. I shouldn't even give you the time of day. You're lucky that I even looked in your direction. And that's the best mindset, the most mindset for success. Keyshawn Johnson, I think his name is. But imagine if he had taken the other route, the other path, and he's walking down the street, and a homeless guy. "Hey, fuck you, Keyshawn, you suck, you're this, you're that." "What, me? Do you know who I am? You're disrespecting me?" Like, get into a big thing, then it's a huge newspaper article and all this stuff and lawsuit and this and that. Like, Keyshawn Johnson is way better. He's a famous sports broadcaster. He's on ESPN. He's a millionaire. You know, he doesn't need to interact with a homeless person. And I see the same thing on a smaller level, and where I'm at doing this podcast every day. Like, I'm just a guy in my apartment doing my own thing, and there literally are ghetto ass people that yell into my window. They, thank God they haven't today, but just yell into my window, or like stand in the parking lot, stand in front of my cameras, just trying to be menacing. And it's like, I don't want to interact with you. Like, I have nothing to do with you. You guys can't see how repulsive you're acting, you know, how needy, how thirsty, how you don't have lives of your own. Like, if I ever see you again, it's too soon, you know? Like, we're not competing. You're the homeless guy. I'm Keyshawn Johnson. Like, I got more to lose than you. You know, you might be 20 years younger than me, but obviously you ain't got shit. By the time I was your age, I was already about to be in the University of Texas. I had already accomplished so many more things than the young people around here had accomplished. And it makes me respect where I came from, everything that I have done, you know, everything that I did do, all the jobs that I worked, all the hard times that I went through. They made me a stronger person. They made me a wiser person, because I didn't turn on the world. I looked at things as a learning experience. I didn't blame others. I took responsibility for myself, and I learned from mistakes, and I became a very excellent, well-rounded person, able to do a podcast off the till for you know, no notes, hardly anything, every single day if I wanted to. And that amongst other things. And popping up to feed street cats at 4 a.m. every day on one of the most dangerous streets in Hawaii. Every single day. I don't even mention it. I got, people trying to give me shit on the street that I could write a story about it, just so that you guys would not even believe. And I say to them, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I've been through so much, and I'm smarter than them. I'm faster than them, and usually taller and bigger than them. And but I've always had a lot of haters, even if I didn't even exist, even if I didn't even normally acknowledge that they exist, or wouldn't even recognize them or be able to tell them apart from other people. But having an online presence, if somebody finds out about that, then they become hate watchers, and they watch, and I can see people in the neighborhood here. They're like, they come from a background where, like, if they saw something that somebody had that they wanted, then all they would have to do is take it. And so they're like, oh, he's got Instagram followers, he's got TikTok followers, I want that. And then I can see them just like lurking around while I'm feeding the cats. Like, how can I take that? It's like, bro, it's not tangible. Tangible what? You can't take it. It's not something you can take. It's me. Even I've seen, scummy guys put on a yellow vest and be like, and mechanic outfit, and have somebody chase him around with the camera, be like, look, I'm feeding the cats. Send me money, not him. I'm doing it. It's like, no, it's not really that, though. A lot of people feed cats, and has a lot more to do with who I am and what I'm trying to do. Because any help that I receive, any viewers that I get, any notoriety that I receive, it's going to go to good things to help more cats. It's not for selfish reasons. It's not for internet clout. There is an end game, and that's to save hundreds of street cats. There's an estimated 2 million homeless cats in Hawaii, and I feed a handful of them every day. And I'm going to be doing that until they're all taken care of, and until I have Elon or Bezos money. That might not be possible, but encouraging others and inspiring others truly to feed stray cats, not because they want internet clout, not because they think that they're going to get viewers or take what I have, because you ain't. But you can learn from me. The best thing, you're not going to ever take what I have. You're never going to be the majority of people will never be as smart as me. They'll never have the oratory skills that I will. They won't have the storytelling ability that I will. You'll never be able to take what I have. Like this, people in the street look up that are used to it. If they see something somebody has that they want, they could just take it. They want Instagram followers. Well, I have them. Can't they just take them? No, that's street logic. That's not real world. But what you can take, and what the hated kid on the second floor, and what the fucking horrible mother on the first floor, you can learn. I've probably unintentionally taught you more than any other person in this country, and I'm pro immigration. Have nothing against that. My girlfriend is an immigrant, and but the thing is, as far as assimilation goes, probably nobody else has ever taught them the rudeness, the absurdity of using shopping carts or raising chickens or collecting cans. Like it's become obvious, and I like I said, unintentionally, they have actually learned something. So I won't live by them forever. They won't live by me forever. Eventually, we will all move. But until that day, and when that does happen, and they look back, I'm pretty sure they learned a lot more from me than I probably learned a little from them too. But really, it was undesirable. Any interactions at all. And the best thing that they probably learned is how to act in an American United States apartment. It's like, you don't interact with your neighbors. It's not a co-op. You don't have to, have conversations or stand outside and barbecue and grill every day. I'm not going to go into it because it's been a peaceful podcast. We've gotten through the whole 20-30 minutes, starting early. And thank you all for listening to Mr.G podcast. You can listen to it audio wherever you listen to podcasts. So on your way to work, while you're at work, on Audacity, on Apple Podcasts, just search Mr.G Hawaii or Gregory Brandt. And if you still can't find it on Spotify or Amazon Podcast, or anywhere you get podcasts, Google Podcasts. If you still can't find it, then full episodes are uploaded in their entirety on Twitter and YouTube, twitter.com/Gregory Brandt and youtube.com/Mr.G Hawaii. From me and my street cats, mahalo and aloha.